I'm in my 30s now, so I'm not exactly a spring chicken these days, and the realization, the sad reality, has started to wash over me that there's certain things I'm just never going to do. I'm never going to be a professional athlete. I'm never going to get taller. I'm too old for a growth spurt now. I'm never going to be able to eat trick cereal. The point is, there are things that I've wanted to do, but now it's just kind of too late for them. And one of them is an idea that I think is so diabolical that it becomes a masterpiece. And it's something I've teased on stream for a few years. It's an idea I've had for a horror movie for so long. Obviously, I'm not too old to make a movie. Jesus Christ, Francis Ford Coppola is like 4,000 years old. He was around when they were building Atlantis, and he just made a movie last year, Megalopolis. God bless. Megaflopolis was something special. Point is, that's not why I don't think I'll ever actually use this idea. It's just become very clear that it's a lot to take on to make this kind of idea come to life. So I just wanted to deep dive on it here because this idea is like a Minto and I'm the Diet Coke. I just need to erupt with this. I recently just blew the lid wide open on this idea on a podcast I went on called Wine About It, and now it's just, it's got me all giddy again because I think the idea slaps so fucking hard. So feel free to use this if you want. I'll part with it. It's a horror movie idea. I've seen like every horror movie ever made. If your mother's cousin made a horror movie that somehow hit a streaming platform 8 years ago, you bet your sweet bippy I watched it. You would be hard-pressed to find someone that's watched as many horror movies as I have. You would be basically trying to track down a fucking unicorn. I saw a movie last year called Bagman in theaters. I bet you didn't even know that movie existed. It's a horror movie about a weirdo troglodyte that puts people in bags and then goes back to his cave. Like, come on, I've seen so much of this that I think I know what would make a horror movie truly traumatizing. Something that's never been done before. And I've teased it on stream that I've had this idea for years, but it's pretty obvious I'm never actually going to do it. So, my horror movie idea revolves around the concept that what you're seeing isn't just a movie. I always believed that to really rattle someone, to unnerve them, you would need to convince them that the movie they're watching is more than that. Kind of like what Blair Witch did back in like the late 90s. But found footage is more like found fuckage. It's just not very good anymore, and everyone's in on the shtick. No one's ever going to watch a found footage film and be convinced that it was real. At least I don't think so. So, I thought outside the box. About 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, I got reached out to by a movie theater company that was asking if we ever wanted to live stream in movie theaters. A peculiar offer, but the idea of having the Revolver God on the big screen, that's a game changer. But honestly, I just didn't see like a whole lot of potential with that concept. Like the idea of live streaming the movie theaters probably could work, but like what the fuck would I be streaming? Like grinding Marvel Rivals? Well, I mean, 4 years ago it'd be, probably repeating the Souls Marathon back then. So didn't really do anything there, but it got the old biocomputer up here and the flesh machine turning. So my friends and I started brainstorming and gave birth to the most evil horror movie idea ever. So, what the idea is I would make a video, like a normal video where I sit down and say like, hey, we're going to be doing a live stream in these movie theaters across the country where we'll be doing my most dangerous video ideas live on the big screen. Get the popcorn, get your friends, and get ready to be blown away by my most death-defying feats. I've talked about this before in videos where I've had like some absolute stinker ideas for content that were just, it's be rolling the dice on my life for no reason. And one of them was I always wanted to try bulletproof armor and actually shoot myself with it, because the guy who invented Kevlar used to, and I think he still does, a demonstration where he puts on his Kevlar body armor and then shoots himself in front of the audience, and they're always stunned like, oh, and it's very cool. And I always wondered, what must that be like? Like, how painful is that to get shot in a Kevlar vest? So, that idea I'll never actually make into a video, but for this idea, we would pitch it as, we're going to be live streaming these kind of ideas from me. Then people would flock to movie theaters like they're lining up for Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith drop, and they'd be in for a real ride, a real hoot and a holler. So the stream would be going, and it'd be, you know, setting up the stakes. We'd obviously have medical professionals on staff just in case things went awry. And we'd be delivering a high-octane stream. People would be giddy in their seat with excitement, having fun. And then I'm going up there for the bulletproof demonstration, trying it out. And then something goes awry and I end up blowing my fucking brains out. Something goes wrong and I shoot myself in the head and brain matter spews everywhere, pink mist, and I collapse to the floor dead. As my friends charge over, fucking screaming and squealing, "Why? Why? No!" And that's the big bait and switch. It was never a live stream. It was a video that we shot and pretended it was live. And the audience would have no fucking clue. They would sit there, most likely traumatized, thinking they just watched me die. Accidentally blow my fucking brains out like I just got assassinated. And I really think that that would capture that same early hype as like Paranormal Activity where people were apparently puking in the theaters or some shit. And I just let that stew. I'd let that marinate for a moment. You know, like camera drops to the floor and you just hear all my friends wailing, like shaking my lifeless corpse. No! That kind of thing. And then I never really ideated past that. We never came up with where it goes from there. But eventually it would transition to like an actual movie, so it wouldn't just be like a 20-minute event, you know? It would then go into like some kind of movie, which we never bothered to write. It's just that intro, that hook, I think is so fucking strong. Because this is something that has never been done and can only ever be done once. You do this one time and it can never be done again because then people would have the idea that maybe this isn't a live stream. But for the first time, they would go in and just take like the whole fucking clobberin, getting punched by this out of nowhere, like, diabolical experience. I just thought it was so strong, but I'll never actually do it. Plus, I mean, I imagine if you did do this, you might even run into, like, some kind of lawsuit or something. Like, that's also very possible. But yeah, I mean, the idea is, like, evil. Like, straight up, it is cruel. Because, again, it would be falsely advertising this live stream, even though it's not actually a stream at all. It's a horror movie, fundamentally. Now, of course, people wouldn't leave the theater thinking that I'm dead. As I said, I'd let it stew for a little while. I'd let it just, you know, linger in the air like a fart wafting. And then it would go into a movie so people would be able to, you know, connect the dots, realize, oh, this is all part of the gimmick. This is the shtick. Like, I don't think anyone would leave the theater under the impression they just witnessed my death. But for at least a handful of minutes, people would think that what they just saw was very real. Which is a rare feat for a movie to pull off. And I just really thought that this was so unique and just so silly. In like a very, you know, twisted way. I just had to share this idea at some point because I'm not actually ever going to make it. If anyone does run with this idea, though, don't be afraid to give me a little tip of the old fedora and say, thanks, Charles, for the the idea. That'll be just fine by me. So yeah, just wanted to share this. That's really about it. So yeah. A few days ago, I made a solemn vow to all of you that I would do something. And by golly, I followed through. Lesser men wouldn't have. They would have tapped out and said, I can't handle that kind of torture. But not me. I watched Amelia Perez. Mostly. I turned it off towards the end. It sucks. It is turbo ass. It's just bad. Oscar nominations came out. Amelia Perez stuns the world, getting 13 nominations. That puts it on equal footing with Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Let that sink in. Let that marinate. This movie, that I had not heard a single compliment from a living, breathing, sentient soul, outside, of course, the zombies, the fart-huffing homunculi in Hollywood, these pretentious weirdos that were singing its praises, constantly patting him on the back for a job well done with this artistic masterpiece, you know, fucking pinky up type shit. Anyone with a functioning frontal lobe that witnessed this disaster all had the same things to say about it. That it's trash. And so, I decided to check it out because I said I would. With all of these nominations, maybe there was something there that only my keen peepers could pick up on. There wasn't. There wasn't at all, actually. Now, I'm going to just talk about the movie itself, I'm going to refrain from talking about the circus that surrounded it with the director and pretty much everyone involved in the movie making a fucking fool of themselves. Like the director saying he didn't need to study Mexican culture, he knew all he needed to know. Also them saying that the reason they didn't hire any, like, Mexican leads for this movie is because they couldn't find people talented enough in Mexico, which is crazy statements across the board from the entire staff here. But go ahead and lock those in the toy chest. I'm not going to play with them today here. People have talked about that a lot. I'm just going to focus on the movie itself. If you can even call this a movie. It's more of like a social experiment on the human patience. Like, how much can you stomach before you just say enough is enough and turn it off? That is the one compliment I can give this movie, is that since it went to Netflix, you didn't have to pay for a ticket and go to a theater to see it. You just pay for the ever-increasing price for Netflix subscriptions, and you get nuggets like this delivered to you, little fucking turd nuggets on a plate. So at least you have the option of easily turning it off. That's good. As far as I'm concerned, the best ending to Emilia Perez is the one I got, where I stopped it early. That's optimal. So you may have heard it been said by others that Emilia Perez is a musical made by people who have never heard music. That's very true. Now, before seeing this film, I did see a couple of very cringe clips. One of them being the very well-known clip now of the Sex Change Operation song. I don't know if I can play a clip from it here. I don't know Netflix's rules on that, so I'll just acapella it for you. Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about Sex Change Operation. I see. From man to woman, woman to man to woman, penis to vagina. Is it for you? I mean, if that doesn't get your finger wiggling, I don't know what will. That musical number goes on for quite some time. It feels like a joke someone would make to insult musicals as a whole. That's how every musical sequence in this movie feels, honestly. Also, I did look it up. There are YouTubers that have put pieces of that musical number in there, so I'm going to do the same here so you can grade my performance a cappella versus the official. I'm going to say, I think I got him beat.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
I see. Men to woman, or woman to men.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina. Is it for you?
This is just one of many stinkers. There isn't a single good tune in the entire film. There's not even the semblance of something decent. Like, the DNA of music is not even there. It really does feel like this is made by people who have never even heard a song. Maybe, like, Happy Birthday at some point in their life, but beyond that, nothing. Every single musical number comes out of nowhere, too. Like a fucking groin shot, Johnny Cage style. You'll be watching the movie, not entertained, obviously, and then it's going to get even worse because in the middle of this conversation, out of nowhere, it breaks into, like, a pseudo-musical where they introduce maybe, like, one light instrument in the back, and then the character starts whispering melodically. It's stupid. I just fucking either do, like, a whole musical number or just don't bother, because that's just weird and silly and annoying. But also, to the team that made this, just don't do musicals ever again because you're bad at it. A lot of these musicals, honestly, like, it doesn't even sound like you're listening to instruments sometimes. It really does feel like they just went in and winged it with whatever they found on set that day, like starting, banging on the catering table or slamming two plates together to get, like, the sound of shattering plates going. And then the characters don't really even sing most of the time. They're mainly just speaking weirdly. So, like, a conversation with Rita and another doctor. She's like, change the soul, change society, change the soul society. The soul society is at risk because Ichigo is no longer a Shinigami. It goes in all these weird directions where they're not singing and they're not talking. They exist in the dimension in between. They're tap dancing on the line of insanity, and it is miserable to listen to. It's like another conversation, we'll stick with the same one. In that same conversation with the doctor, which is like a musical the entire time, it really loosey-goosey nomenclature here, calling it a musical. But Goober sounds like he's, about to pass out from Xanax or something. Like, the way he's delivered, it's like they tried to reinvent singing, and they couldn't do it, because you can't reinvent that. Like, there's notes you should be hitting, and there's ways that singing is that you just can't really change the foundations of, but they certainly challenged it. So Goober just starts breaking out into it. Lady, I only fix the body, I don't fix the soul. Your Mr. Mystery better change his mind, change his ID. And then she'll come in and like try and duet with it, but they don't mesh, and they also don't like conflict well, so like the battle doesn't work. So she comes in, you better change your mind, you better change your mind. Like, it sucks. Like, nothing about the musicals work, and that's the whole focal point of this film. And every statement it tries to make on like hot button issues just falls so fucking flat. It's very clear that this is a film that had one target demographic, and that's out of touch Hollywood weirdos that love to jerk each other off about how in touch they are and how refined their palate is. It is the textbook definition of Oscar bait, and I can really see why so many people hate this movie. It's also extremely shallow. It doesn't make any strong statements on anything at all, and I really do get why, in Mexico in particular, people hate this movie. Because it boils down their entire culture to just being drug cartel. That's it. It is laser focused on trying to tap into the degenerate evil brain of the Hollywood elite. And it successfully has done it, clearly. 13 Oscar nominations. It is truly just for that weirdo groups that love to shake each other's hands and put each other up on pedestals because they like irredeemable dog shit that they think is deep when it's not. And I have no doubt that they think that by enjoying this film, they're in touch and socially conscious of things. I can already just picture it now. Oh, yes, Emilia Perez, one of the finest films ever directed. A lot of Philistines couldn't appreciate the genius of Jacques Audiard. Not like I could. I found a new appreciation for Mexican culture thanks to Emilia Perez. I even had my private chef whip up tamales last night to celebrate. Even been learning the language. Spanish is beautiful. Donde está la biblioteca? Buenos noches. Impressive, I know. Gracias. Like, it's just the people that have nominated this pile of doo-doo, this fucking winky. I'm fucking malfunctioning trying to find other ways of insulting this movie. But the fact it's nominated for 13 Oscars blows my fucking mind. Like, it tries to tackle a lot of like hot button topics, but it doesn't tackle them. It doesn't tackle anything except your patience as a viewer. It doesn't make statements on anything. It's not deep. It's beyond shallow. The director and everyone who worked on this movie had absolutely not a single moment of reflection when making it where they thought, hey, maybe we should like actually try and do something here. The only goal in mind is how can we try and tick all of the boxes to get Oscar nominations. That's the only thing they did. The movie is a failure on all possible fronts. It's a bad movie. It's a bad story. The characters are bad. The music is really bad, and there's a lot of music. Like, everything about the movie is a catastrophe. It is no surprise to me now why everybody who has seen this movie does not like it. Just point blank, they do not like it. Like, I haven't even really got into like the story at all. I've been just talking about, like, in broad strokes here. The story is super fucking stupid. I don't even know if it's worth diving into. I feel like I've already ranted about this enough. There is not anything about this movie that I think is, like, good or worth watching. I will say, like, if I had to really scrap, like pick at morsels for something nice to say about it, there's a couple of set pieces during, like, a dance or two where I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I guess, like, a couple of shots where it, like, almost worked if the music wasn't so shitty. But other than that, there's just nothing here. Like, and that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel for a compliment. It's... Not only should this not have been nominated for 13 Oscars, it shouldn't have been nominated for anything more than a Razzie. It's a bad movie. Like, it's just not good. It's not like a average movie somehow makes a miracle run at the Oscars for 13 nominations. No, like, there is just no real explanation for why this film is nominated at all, let alone this many times. And it also, like, did extremely well at the Golden Globes, inexplicably. It's probably going to do really well at the Oscars, even though it shouldn't even be there. I don't get it. And now that I've watched it and then turned it off, I can say that it's just not very good. That's about it. See ya. There's many different kinds of crime. Comes in all shapes and sizes, like animal crackers. You have your serious crimes, like murder and cheating in Marvel Rivals. You have your not-so-serious crime, like smoking weed or crossing the street at a not-specified cross. And then you have your unforgivable Omega-level mutant crimes, like what I just learned about last night that happened in the UK. This is the curious case of the evil cyber farter. Yeah, it's a real thing. This lady got arrested for cyber farting, and it's quite a fascinating deep dive. UK woman gets 12-month term for cyber farting at X. What an interesting night we're having already. What? What does that even mean? It's the first ever case of cyber farting. That's the actual term they're calling it. That's not like a meme or anything. It's in the Economic Times. Well, first of all, like, how do you even cyber fart? And second of all, why would it be a criminal case of cyber farting? 25-year-old woman in the UK has pled guilty in a case described as the first of its kind involving cyber farting. The woman, Rhiannon Evans, man, I can't read. Watching the Soup Bandit and the way that she speaks English has actually deteriorated my frontal lobe here. I'm struggling. Wow. Rhiannon... I know I've gone illiterate. Fuck. She hit me with the stupid neurons. They were contagious. Rhiannon Evans was ordered to pay nearly €300 after admitting to sending videos of herself passing gas to her ex-boyfriend's partner. No, to her, I can't read. To her boyfriend's ex-partner. The court also sentenced Evans to a 12-month community order along with a 2-year restraining order. Additionally, she must attend 15 rehabilitation sessions and observe a 60-day alcohol abstinence period. The incident occurred over the Christmas and New Year period, starting on December 22nd, continuing through the 1st. Evans sent multiple videos to Deborah... I'm not gonna try. I'm interrupting this life-changing broadcast to bring you an important announcement. Our soap is fully restocked. Cheeky is available again. Rejoice. It's available at usecheeky.com. We've also introduced a soap tray and a fragrance-free soap. It's called just soap, because that's all it is. There's no fragrances. It's for people that have allergies to fragrances or scents. Also, by popular demand, we have turned on international shipping, but beware, sports fans. It's very fucking expensive. We make all of our soap here in America, so international shipping is no joke when it comes to prices. But people said that they really want that, so we turned it on, but you will probably be paying more for shipping than you are for the actual soap. And that's not us, by the way. We don't set the shipping price. That's just old Uncle Sam coming into our buttholes here and charging an arm and a leg to ship internationally. But anyway, Cheeky's fully restocked. Use Cheeky.com for the best bars of soap ever made. So it's because she broke wind and sent it to this lady unsolicited? So I guess like it's more of like a harassment charge, not so much... Like the farting wasn't really the issue, I don't think. I guess it was the harassment? I don't know. What an interesting case. Didn't you fart under oath in court? Man, this is how rumors start. No, brother. I didn't fart in court. When I went to court in the Carl Jobst versus Billy Mitchell lawsuit, Billy Mitchell's team used my fart as evidence. I was not in there passing gas. So if you look into the case and you go to the Billy Mitchell team, you will see actual ass. It was on day 6 of the trial when I was called in as a witness. Still such a badass picture. But yeah, this is entered into the official evidence from Billy Mitchell's team. I did not fart in court. His team submitted it for some reason. The videos caused her distress and anxiety, leading her to contact the police. Prosecutor Diane Williams stated that the videos were considered indecent or grossly offensive. Describing one of the clips, she said, "She proceeds to pass gas by placing the camera on her bottom and passing the gas." Over a span of days, Evans sent multiple similar videos, each showing her smiling at the camera while passing wind. Evans' attorney, Harriet Gorst, Man, that's some goofy shit. Harriet Gorst. attributed the incident to ongoing issues between Evan's partner and her regarding child contact. Gorst stated at the time she sent these videos she had some drinks and she sent them, understanding now this has caused the victim some distress. She sent them without malicious intent. However, the prosecution disagreed, with Williams stating it was purely malicious. She was smirking throughout, found it hilarious, but the victim didn't. Why? Why wouldn't she find that hilarious? It's a fart. That is inherently silly. Like, yeah, it's weird to just get sent one by someone you don't really know and don't really like. But I gotta be honest, I don't know if it's criminal. I wouldn't go that far. You hear about the plant in Sydney that reeks of socks and garbage that had 3-hour-long lines of people coming to smell it? Why? No. Why? Why is that like an event people would want to line up for, to smell stink? In a victim impact statement, she expressed her desire to feel safe in my home. I can't sleep with the flatulence boogeyman lurking via cyberspace. I feel jeopardized. The court ordered Evans to pay €100 in compensation and then €200 in court costs. She must also complete 15 rehab sessions and abstain from alcohol for 2 months. Additionally, a 2-year restraining order prevents Evans from contacting her. Imagine going to rehab for cyber farting. That's almost insulting to the whole idea of rehabilitation. Imagine that being on your record. Yeah. She's gonna have a hard time finding employment. The cyber farter is gonna brand her for life. A damn shame. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, as they say. Look at the photo of the cyber farter. She looks guilty. Is it in this article, or it's a different article? Let me see. 25-year-old learns fate in first ever fart.
We will leave no
case.
stone unturned until the people responsible are caught.
This is the latest from the newsroom. The Premier of New South Wales.
Okay, here. Is this her? Is that the cyber farter?
Rihanna was arrested at her home in Carnarvon and will be sentenced this week.
That's so crazy to me. Imagine wasting police resources to go catch the cyber farter. Arrested in her home. She must have been so fucking confused. What do you mean I can't just fart? What happened to this country? There's a membership debate. Can't film myself farting anymore? I imagine they broke in like that meme where like the authorities kick in the door and like rappel down and then smash a vase against the wall. She's reaching for her ass! Don't let her! Get her! Get her! Shoot! Shoot! She's gonna fucking do it! Thousands line up to smell plant that reeks of gym socks and rotting garbage. This looks like that shit from Harry Potter when that lady lifts it up and it starts squealing. Tall, pointed, and smelly, the corpse flower is scientifically known as Amorphophallus titanum, or bungabanki. Bungabankai. Bankai? Holy shit! This is serious then. 20,000 admirers filing past for a moment in her increasingly pungent presence.
That she's starting to open, and we have been waiting for this.
Yes, we have.
Species of the horticultural variety.
I think everyone here at the Royal Botanic Gardens Sydney won't be sleeping tonight.
I know what she means. They're so excited they won't be able to sleep. But I love the idea that this thing smells so fucking bad that it stains the people's nostrils and they never sleep again and then just eventually die. See, like, that'd be a cool SCP spin on it. Here's the Resub Temelis. Flower of Nurgle. Yeah. I really want to smell it. I feel like the smells is, like, very overhyped on shit. So, like, when we did that Sir Strumming video, I went in there kind of expecting it to not be as bad as people make it seem on YouTube. And it wasn't. Same with the durian. I feel like smells are just, like, a really overhyped thing, or I'm just smell blind, and it doesn't bother me as much as it does for most. There's a marketing trend that's existed for far too long now. It's been years, and it's more cringe than when all companies tried to use Gangnam Style to promote their brand. It's this fixation on diluting all logos to just be bold text with the company name, just this minimalist garbage where it removes all fun and whimsy and personality and completely erases all creativity of logos and just reduces them to the company name on a very bland color. It's like the most sterile shit ever. It's not interesting. I think it super sucks, but this has been the norm for corpo dog shit for a while. I still think the most infamous example is when Staples made an entire E3 press conference to unveil their new logo, where they removed the iconic Staples logo to make this, and then they had like paid shills in the audience going, "Yeah! Wee!" all over like this Staples logo unveiling, which again, nobody cares about. It's a worse logo. All you've done is just make a worse logo. And now Cracker Barrel has finally followed suit where they redesigned their logo, and man, did it hit them hard where it hurts the most. Right in their fucking precious nutsack of money. Pretty much overnight, they lost roughly $100 million in value. Their stock took a nosedive into the shitter here. And of course, plenty of people make the argument, it's just a logo, this is so overblown and unnecessary, it's not that big of a deal. And I guess I can kind of understand that, but I also understand why so many people are fed up with the enshittification of things. Like, everything seems to like be going in this direction where it gets boiled down to like the same generic sludge, where everything has to be the most bland, sane-y poop ass. Like, it's just so unnecessary. Like, changing that logo and making it simpler does nothing for Cracker Barrel or for anybody. It's just a waste of time and resources. And there is more to it. It's not just the logo. They are like redoing the menu. They're redoing the restaurants as well. The idea is they want to make it the Cracker Barrel of today and tomorrow is the verbiage that the CEO used. She actually went and did an interview with Good Morning America where she affirms that Cracker Barrel is really happy with how everything's going and that the response has actually been overwhelmingly positive. I don't know if they're just filter feeding her like 5 like tweets on Twitter that are like, actually this is good. And they're like, yes, we're going in the right direction. But they don't seem at all shocked or rocked or even slightly perturbed that their stock has just nosedived after unveiling the new logo and the plans to like redesign and redo certain elements of Cracker Barrel.
Well, remember, the heart and soul of Cracker Barrel is going to stay the same. And so today we're actually launching a new campaign called All the More, which really highlights how people feel about Cracker Barrel. It's bigger than just a meal. We've got a retail shop. You're going to get great country hospitality with our scratch-made food in our restaurants. And that's really what this campaign celebrates. So we've enlisted a little bit of help from a guy named Jordan Davis. Maybe you've heard of him. He's got a new single and album out, and he's in our ad and is the voice of it as well. And it really, again, just highlights those things that make Cracker Barrel Cracker Barrel.
I know everyone's all excited about Hollow Knight Silksong around the corner, but I tell you what, I am chomping at the bit to get a piece of that Cracker Barrel ad campaign with Jordan Davis being the hired spokesperson for it. I can't wait. That's exciting. Yippee. Thanks so much for sharing. Basically, this whole interview is her just trying to reassure people that the Cracker Barrel they love is going nowhere, even though they are redoing the inside of the restaurant, even though they are changing the menu and redoing some of the dishes, even though they are changing the logo, and even though they have redesigned their philosophy to be more about the Cracker Barrel of today and tomorrow as opposed to the Cracker Barrel of the past. But other than that, like, everything's exactly the same.
Is the food changing?
The food, well, here's what I'll say about that. Innovation has proven to be really great at Cracker Barrel. People are loving our new menu items. We're reinvigorating our dinner menu.
And a lot of restaurants are leaning and going back to nostalgia, things that the customers are really comfortable with.
We never left it.
Yeah, you never left it, but you're changing up. You're kind of going a different direction. Why is that your strategy?
Yeah, because the Cracker Barrel needs to feel like the Cracker Barrel for today and for tomorrow. And again, the things that you love are still there. We need people to choose us, and we want people to choose us because people love this brand.
People love this brand, which is why we're changing it. It's just, I don't know, it feels really contradictory because, like, this is all about her saying, like, no, everything that makes Cracker Barrel is going to stay the same, you know? We never left nostalgia. Except we are leaving nostalgia. We're modernizing. Like, her whole her whole spiel here, like the entire pitch, is about why the modernization of Cracker Barrel is a good thing and it's the right direction to go for the company. The changing of the menu, the new food, bringing back like some old food. She mentioned like a meal is coming back, or I don't recognize the meal by name. I've only been to Cracker Barrel like maybe 10 times in my life, actually all of which have been a pretty decent dining experience. I've never actually had like a really bad time at Cracker Barrel. It is kind of cute as like this old-timey experience. But what she's insisting is like that experience will still be there, but modernized. But that clashes. I don't know how you could modernize an old school, like old style experience. Like that would clash by its very nature, I would think. Like if you're improving the food, great. I never had any big complaints about the food at Cracker Barrel, but if you want to introduce more high quality cuisine options and just upgrade it, that's fine by me. Let it rip. I just don't know why that also means you have to redesign like the entire like brand identity and whatever. To me, it reminds me of what video games have also been doing for a while now, which I fucking hate, and I'm always the first to spit on this, where a new entry into a franchise will have the same name as another entry in the franchise, and it grinds my ass so hard. Like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, that's actually 6 games I just named right there, because there's 2 of each, and they are so different. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare is different from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is different from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is different from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Like, you see the problem? Like, I hate that shit. I hate that shit. I'm going off on a different tangent. Stop me now. Stop me now before I start getting out of control with the ranting. Point is, Cracker Barrel feels to me like it's doing that same thing, where it's taking Cracker Barrel and introducing Cracker Barrel 2025 on it, which is different. But she's insisting that it's the same, so what's the point in trying to present it as different? Like, just go ahead and make a marketing push that's like, hey, we upgraded our food, we changed these things around, we added new things to the gift shop, some more modern items, we repainted things inside to brighten it up, that kind of thing, whatever. Another thing she mentioned is they're changing the chairs to make more comfortable chairs. Big thumbs up for me. I actually hated the chairs at Cracker Barrel sometimes. My ass is a little bony, so sitting on those chairs is a little uncomfortable for an extended period of time. So changing the chairs there, great idea. Does that also mean that it needs to come with like this whole push of like, Cracker Barrel's new? We've changed the logo and everything. I don't think so, but that's the trend of business these days, where even like the slightest change, you need to introduce the sequel. Like Overwatch. Overwatch 2. We've done almost nothing, and we're calling it Overwatch 2. This is the sequel. It shit sucks. It's just super useless. Like, that's kind of like the DNA that I feel from this Cracker Barrel logo change and like this whole push about like the refreshing of Cracker Barrel. I think ultimately it probably won't change that much, but they have changed the logo. So immediately people will recognize it as something different, even if she's insisting it's going to be the same experience. And I think the logo is worse. It follows another trend I hate of these really boring minimalist logos. I think there's nothing fun or creative about it. It sucks a lot of life out of a brand. It just seems like a huge waste of resources to take a logo that everyone can immediately identify and take everything out of it to just be the name, and then try and present like, Cracker Barrel 2 is here. This is the refresh. But also, it's like the exact same experience that you've always remembered. Don't worry, everything you love about Cracker Barrel is still there. Okay, well then why did you redo the logo, and why are you calling it this huge refresh? It's just, I don't know. It feels super sloppy to me. I'm not surprised to see people aren't really responding well to it. It's worthless.
What if all the customers are coming at you hard enough about the look of the restaurant and they want to go back to the old way? Would you do it?
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. So
sure, that's all fine and dandy, but it is not really representative of everyone's perception of this redesign and this refresh. Like, you can anecdotally talk about the managers in Orlando shaking you like, when can we get a remodel? And use that as an indicator that you're going in the right direction, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Like, I feel like, and of course I'm not in the board meetings here, but I feel like you could point to the stock price correlating with when the logo design dropped, and then also couple with all of the feedback you can publicly see from everyone, including your loyal customers, and probably make the assumption that maybe there's more people unsatisfied with this than we're thinking. Like, they're currently writing it off as a vocal minority, but I feel like it's probably a pretty large group of people that isn't really excited about this. Of course, plenty of people that are upset about it are people that never eat at Cracker Barrel and probably never would have stepped foot in one in the first place. But there also are definitely some customers that probably are a bit turned off here because it's following the trend of every other business that is diluting everything that they've built into just being like generic slop looking. Even if that's not the case here with Cracker Barrel, people have already seen this song and dance from plenty of other businesses over the years that a lot of people are just tired of it in general. Now, what I will say is I don't think this will last long. Not like the logo and everything and the refresh. I'm sure they will fully commit to that, and that will probably be the norm from this point going forward for Cracker Barrel for a long time. What I don't think is going to last a while, what I think is ephemeral, is people avoiding Cracker Barrel and the stock plummeting. I think this will follow the trend of most shit where once it stops being flavor of the month, people will just go back to business as usual and they'll eat at Cracker Barrel when convenient or with their grandparents or something. Like, they're not going to be canceling trips to Cracker Barrel a week from now. So I'm sure it'll probably rebound to some extent or even completely. Maybe it ends up being successful for them. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to stay like this from this point going forward. But I guess I could be wrong about that. Maybe people are just like, you know what, fuck Cracker Barrel for this, and they're done with it. That's possible. I just find it unlikely because that almost never happens. For any business, really. Anyway, though, just wanted to yap about this. That's about it. See ya. I have been glued to the coverage of the California fires. It is hard to imagine what that must be like. My heart goes out to anyone affected by it. I'm wishing you the absolute best. It looks like footage of a doomsday.
Here is a satellite picture of the Eaton fire just this morning. It shows nearly every building in western Altadena on fire. In the Palisades, the destruction, it's immeasurable. The fire there has destroyed at least 1,000 structures so far.
I have been reading and watching so much about these fires over the last 4 hours now, just trying to get to the bottom of how did it start and how do you stop it, because it is just out of control and it seems like people are powerless against it to try and halt the spread of it. It's affecting so many thousands of families and animals. It's unbelievable. And unfortunately, the answer to both those questions, how did it start, how do you stop it, is a resounding don't know. It's almost impossible to track exactly where all this began because it could have been absolutely anything. It's so dry and so windy in California. Windy doesn't even begin to cover just how strong the winds are. I read a couple articles saying that wind speeds were getting up to 80 miles per hour. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's like an apocalyptic amount of wind. That's like something you'd read in Homer's The Odyssey when one of the gods gets angry. So that combination of dry and windy, anything could have started this. It could have been Harold and his family in their backyard on Tuesday were making s'mores, and one of the embers just got, picked up and brought on an adventure by the wind, leading to a small fire starting, and that small fire immediately just blossoms into something like this. Now, it's multiple fires that have been happening throughout California. It's not just one, which is what makes it even worse. Fires keep breaking out and keep spreading all over the fucking place. And there's so many factors at play for making this even more difficult to combat than it already is with these conditions. So I read a lot of reports about there just not being enough water for them to fight it, as well as the winds being too high for any kind of aerial attempts. Even though there have been aerial attempts, you can see some of the footage, like one of the planes that dropped water. It was getting fucking ragdolled by the wind. Luckily, the plane didn't crash or anything, but after it dropped the water, the wind was blowing it around like it was an NVIDIA physics demonstration. It was unbelievable. I was also reading reports of budget cuts that may have had an impact on the fire department's ability to control a fire like this. I was also reading there's just not enough firefighters in the area to fight against something of this scale. So there's just so many different things at play. And I am showing a lot of self-restraint right now, not ranting and raving about insurance companies as well. I'll briefly mention it though, I'm sure a lot of you saw this. State Farm and, some insurance providers, they decided, you know what? Don't really need fire insurance. So a lot of homeowners that are losing their homes right now, a lot of families that are losing their homes, no longer have any kind of fire coverage because the insurance just, they didn't think they needed it anymore. So I was reading a lot about how State Farm in particular canceled a lot of fire insurance. So there's a lot to say about that. I'll bite my tongue on it. I've ranted about insurance a lot over the last couple of years. But anyway, the big question is, how do you fight against it? And right now the answer is you don't. The best they can do is try and save like animals. Like I noticed a lot of effort being made to get pets out of houses that some families left behind, as well as like horses that got left behind, and trying their best to save property. But it doesn't seem like there's any viable way for them to stop the spread of the fire at this moment because of just how absurd the wind conditions are, and also just not having enough tools at their disposal for it, like with water and everything. And that's just really scary. They have come out and said the best thing they can do is just wait for it to run out of fuel. That's really about it at the moment. It's a horrifying set of circumstances out there. It's absolutely tragic. Now, of course, with anything of this scale, there's going to be some very brain-dead takes about the whole thing. There's no real point into diving into some of those, but I mean, I'm seeing some unhinged shit, like, why aren't the residents of Bikini Bottom coming up from the ocean to start spritzing salt water on the fires to help us out? And like, how can there be fire when there's ocean right next to it? The big thing I'll briefly talk on this one because I see this a lot. Why aren't they just using the salt water to put out the fire? There's an unlimited amount right next to them. Well, you don't really want to be salting the earth. That's not ideal, but at least salt water is better than no water. And I actually read from the California fire captain that the actual acquisition of that water, getting it, transporting it, making some kind of holding pool for it, and then making some kind of way for it to use in their pumps so it can draw from the holding pool to their pumps is just very difficult. And also the weather conditions make it extremely difficult to get a fixed wing aircraft out there to super scoop the water because the wind is blowing so hard. That could also just be deadly if they tried to get any kind of aircraft out there to super scoop the water. So the big thing for not using the salt water right now is that it's just really hard for them to even get to use against the fire if they wanted to, which is why they're using, water from lakes and reservoirs and all of that. But I have seen that a lot. It's actually like a SpongeBob solution. Why don't we take the ocean and move it over there on top of the fire a little bit? And it's not that easy. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, no, I've been seeing the videos of the fires out in California. It is horrifying. Here, hold on. I saw this video earlier today. So most people were ordered to evacuate, and I imagine most people did. There's a video of some people that didn't.
This was going viral to all over the place. Look at this video.
This actually looks like something out of Doom. Like Doom Eternal or something. Like when the portal to hell opens.
This was a guy who didn't heed the warning, stayed behind.
I've seen
and
this.
Look at what happened here. I mean, to be surrounded by flames in all direction with your dog there. So this is not what you want to have happen. So as... That
is insightful. Listen, folks. This is not what you want to have happen. You don't want flames blazing, this inferno surrounding you. You're not looking at a good time. I'm just going to say it. Hey, call me a jerk all you want. You don't really want that.
If he was able to post the video, I hope he ended up being okay. I hope he was able to get out, but
from what I recall, he did.
An exact update on what exactly happened.
Yeah, the footage that's been coming out from this is it's hard to believe that it's not a movie. It's truly nuts.
Obviously, this is our local story, but
it's like something out of a Roland Emmerich film.
News anchors coming here today. I mean, this is.
What's even more fucked up is apparently a lot of people were denied fire insurance by companies like State Farm shortly before the wildfires happened. No, what? What? Insurance did that? I must have misread that. That can't be right. That doesn't make sense. No, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. Don't make me go on insurance now. Now I'm fucking stun locked on insurance. You remember, I think I talked about this on stream. So, I don't remember which hurricane, but one of the hurricanes that blew through Florida a few months ago, it caused some flood damage to our warehouse. Nothing like too expensive to fix or anything. But we, of course, had flood insurance. Well, Let me tell you, the insurance being the saints they are, they found a way to weasel out of any coverage for the flood damage, so it came all out of pocket. And that's the way it goes. That you pay for the insurance for the sole purpose of helping when a natural disaster happens, and their whole goal is to make sure they don't actually pay you for what you've been paying them for the entire time. It's incredible. It works that same way in health insurance. It's amazing. It's really amazing stuff. What was their reason for denying it? What was their reason for denying it? Oh, fuck, I can't remember. I think one of the big things was they didn't think the flood damage was as bad as we made it sound. And also, even if it was, it didn't do enough damage to warrant them covering any of it. It was some combination of those two excuses. Didn't only damage one part of the warehouse. No. One part of the warehouse got it worse than the other. The back building where we play for skill check videos. That one, the entire floor and everything had like 2 or 3 inches of standing water. That one definitely got it the worst and destroyed most of the things that were still on ground level there. But the main warehouse building had water damage in the walls. But not too bad, all things considered. But it still would have been nice if flood insurance was like, hey, yeah, we'll cover that. We'll help cover that. You literally pay us to cover it, so we'll do that. But they didn't do that. Because this really is just, it's unbelievable.
So this is an entire entirely. This whole street is gone.
It's just actually erasing so much. And I didn't know this, but apparently the reason this is so out of control is because of how windy it's been in California. Because there's been a lot of wildfires in California. There was the big ones a few years back that took out a lot. But this seems to be like a totally different beast because the wind is unreal. How does this start? Is it just dry and wind? Literally that. There's no telling exactly what started this. It could be a fucking cigarette being flipped out by a substitute teacher that just got off of work. And then it just starts a small little fire and it's so windy that it just blows it up. It just explodes it. It could be absolutely anything. Alien drone lasers from Jersey. I am actually surprised I haven't seen more conspiracy theory takes on it. Now, granted, I haven't really been looking or anything, but I feel like that would have been one of the first things. The first fire started in someone's backyard. Imagine having a small fire end up costing thousands of houses. Where did you see that? I didn't see that. It's very possible, with how bad the wind is, that is actually what started all of this, but where did you see that info? Let me look it up. 5 football fields a minute, how a perfect storm of extreme weather set off Los Angeles wildfires. Man, holy shit. They're picking up burning debris and embers and depositing them downwind, and that's the recipe for what we've got now. There's nothing the fire crews can physically do to stop this fire. All they can do is try to get ahead of it and hope there are enough natural fire breaks in the form of rivers, open areas with little vegetation that maybe can slow it down a little bit. It's virtually uncontrollable, and they go out, typically, only when they run out of fuel. Okay, so it broke out around 10:20 a.m. Tuesday. Its exact cause remains under investigation. So I don't know where you saw that it started in someone's backyard. Didn't a fire start one time because of a gender reveal? Yes. That was 4 years ago, I want to say. A gender reveal party caused a massive raging wildfire. Yep. Like all the footage coming out, you can just see it from anywhere in California, it seems. Well, okay, not anywhere in California. You can see it from many, 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 many miles away, and the whole sky is just like this orange, smoky hellscape.
California, which is also on fire. This is the Eaton fire in the Altadena area, and for the first time, our colleague Gina Silva is giving us a look from the ground. Those are horses, Gina?
Those are horses, yes. There's a woman that just came down the road here, and she's trying
God, just look at that.
But as you can see, we
what the fuck?
In Altadena, and this entire hillside is on fire. It has already crossed the street, and there's a building here that is in danger of also. You can see how dangerous the situation is. These are the streets: Kinalea Canyon Road, Outpost Lane, Glen Springs, Coolidge, Miranda, Roosevelt, Vernada,
Yeah, I don't know how she's even able to report. Like, the smoke inhalation alone must be just impossible.
And these winds are absolutely dangerous.
Were there any attempts of using helicopters to collect water from the ocean to put out these fires? So I only started reading about this like an hour or so before stream. Chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually kind of dangerous to fly during this because the wind is so strong. Like, so strong, so there's not a ton of, like, aerial watering attempts. But I don't think you'd be using ocean water, by the way. I think you just mean general water. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I don't think you'd be wanting to use salt water. But if I remember correctly, from what I was reading, they're not doing a lot of aerial stuff because of how risky it is with the wind speed. Because the wind speed is getting, like, to 80 miles per hour. Is it mainly in the hills of California right now? So there's 4. I think it's 4. And I don't think they're all just in the hills of California, but I think the majority of it is there. CNN says there's 6. Well, it looks like there was at one point, but I think this icon means that it's like under control. I would guess, because I mean usually green is green good. This is one of those situations like with hurricanes, you'd hope we had some weapons or technology to stop it. Oh, you know, this isn't what you were trying to say, but you know what just reminded me of? You remember how all the people were saying, like, the government's got, like, the Democrats have the hurricane machines, the weather machines that they're sending hurricanes at Florida with? Where the fuck is that technology now? Why does the weather machine only happen sometimes if we have that technology? Yeah, if the weather machines are real, now would be a really good time to start a torrential downpour or something in California. It's a good day for rain. Another funeral service as we say goodbye to another game that will join X-Defiant, Concord, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and the great beyond of games that shut down within a handful of months. Multiversus. It was announced that Season 5 will be the last update to the game. You'll still be able to play the new characters that are earnable through the Battle Pass, which is Lola Bunny and Aquaman, but the game will be going offline, though you will still be able to play it offline, which is more than you can say for things like Concord. I hate how everything gets compared to that game now, but it really is the gold standard for flop, failure, and fuck-up. And it's a damn shame Multiversus walks this same path. Multiversus actually pulls a pseudo-Morbius here, where it happened twice. So, I really liked this game in beta. I streamed it a lot, and I had a great time. I was one of the top-ranked Shaggies in the world, not to toot my own horn here, but I just had so much fun with it during the beta, and then they took the beta down, saying that, you know, it was only a limited time access to it. That was when people stopped playing it as much, so it really felt more like they didn't maintain the numbers they were hoping for, so they decided to take it off and then bring it back later, hoping that more people would be really hyped for the second go-around. Unfortunately, the second go-around was much worse, with people not flocking to it like they did initially, and the complete product was missing features the beta had. The biggest and, in my opinion, most unforgivable sin was they slowed the pacing of the game down to a glacial crawl. The beta had a great speed. It was nice, it was fast, nuts to butts action, it felt good, and then when they brought it back in the full release, they turned it down to like 0.5 Weenie Hut Jr. mode, and it was much less enjoyable. It was so much slower. And most people, myself included, hated that change. It felt much worse than it did when it was a beta. So, even though a lot of people didn't come back to the game, those that did from the beta didn't stick around with it. I stopped playing after like a week and a half, whereas I played the beta for like 2 months, pretty strongly. It was just genuinely a good time. A platform fighter that felt pretty fresh. You get to play as LeBron James dunking on bitches. You get to play as Shaggy going Super Saiyan and doing some really fun shenanigans. It was great. And then when they took it offline and brought it back, it was a shell of its former self. It's like they sent it to fucking shock therapy or it got lobotomized or something. It just wasn't the same game. And a lot of people felt that. So it didn't have strong player numbers, so this isn't the most surprising news that they're shutting it down. It's just disappointing. It really is just a shame, because I feel like if they never took the beta down, and instead they just added things people were really wanting, like bringing ranked, like competitive matches to the game in a timely fashion. That was a can they kept perpetually kicking down the road, it felt like. But instead they just took the game down and made people that liked it wait even longer for it to come back, and then what they got was a fucking zombie of the game that they used to like. To me, it just boils down to delusion, thinking that somehow taking the game down would create some kind of, like, feverish hype around it with people scratching their neck, waiting for it to come back, so they'd start spreading the word, telling their friends, and when they drop it again, it'd be like fucking Half-Life 3 releasing, everyone would flood to the game this time around. When that was never going to happen, all this did was confuse everybody. It was just a baffling choice, and I think it killed the game's momentum. Even though, like, even during its beta, it was starting to lose some momentum, it still did have a pretty loyal player base that you could have absolutely built upon and grew into something beautiful. And it's a lesson that the entire gaming community has been learning over the last year, that these games, these multiplayer games that come out, there's a good chance they don't stick around. So a lot of people don't bother buying anything like skins or passes, because why the fuck would you waste money on a game that's not going to be here in a month? There are so many games that shut down so quickly that it feels like a scam if you spent money on it. Multiversus is one of those. They have a $100 Founders Pack that the players are not going to be getting a refund on when this game shuts down. That is, in my eyes, a fucking load of baloney. That is some horseradish for sure. It's such a fascinating cycle of Ouroboros in its own ass here, because the reason games like Multiversus and XDefiant and all that are shutting down is because they don't have players that are spending enough money in the game to make it sustainable. Like, it doesn't make financial sense to keep operating I'm actually having a fucking Porky Pig moment right here. It doesn't make sense to keep paying the developers for Multiversus and to keep building Multiversus if the players aren't spending enough money in the game, but players aren't spending enough money in these games because the uncertainty of the game's lifespan is always called into question. Why would you start spending money in a game that might not be here in 5 months? And that's being generous. A lot of these games don't even make it 5 months anymore, which I think is absolutely absurd, but case in point right here, Multiversus took a year-long hiatus. It went into the hyperbolic time chamber to beef up, get bigger, and then it came back and was much smaller, much weaker, and super wimpy. This game came back and died faster than a fucking butterfly on the interstate crashing into a windshield. It's just so silly to me. So yeah, overall, I'm not surprised that Multiversus is shutting down. I feel like most people probably aren't stunned by that news. You don't need the Mayan calendar to predict this one. But it still is sad. Like, I enjoyed the game. I thought it was great in beta, and then they shut it down, and then brought it back, and then shut it down again. They pulled it twice. Like, come the fuck on. It's just ridiculous at this point. At the very least, though, you will still be able to play this game offline. If anyone ever wants to have LAN parties for Multiversus, that will at least be an option, so that's good. But personally, I really do think there was a chance to turn this into a very niche community. It was never going to reach the heights of like a Super Smash Bros. Or something, and it probably wouldn't reach like a Brawlhalla either. But you could have still carved out your own community for Multiversus. It still did have a community. Maybe just tap into that and build there, and maybe don't kill the game's momentum in the first place by taking it offline and putting like a fucking year-long hiatus on the next iteration of it that happens to be a worse iteration of what once was. To me, it just feels like they took too many steps in the wrong direction here, and then there wasn't a whole lot they could do to salvage it, and so they've pulled the plug instead of even trying to somehow make something out of it, which is kind of par for the course for a lot of games these days. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. You see Brian Johnson posting his son's boner statistics and comparing them with his own boner stats. Yes, actually. I even have that pulled up right here. Matt sent me this last night. So Brian Johnson, the immortal vampire searching for the Fountain of Youth, he posted his penis leaderboard here. Nighttime erection data from my 19-year-old son and me. His duration is 2 minutes longer than mine. Raise children to stand tall, be firm, and be upright. How inspirational. And then we have the Wiener Wikipedia. I mean, I've been saying I think Brian Johnson's work is overall a net positive because he's just this guinea pig for humanity where he tries everything to make himself younger and combat, like, aging and all that, which is cool, and it leads to some really interesting discoveries, such as how he recently had to announce that he stopped doing one of his protocol because it was actually accelerating his aging, the exact opposite of what you want to happen. But then you get some weird shit like this where he's really fixated on cock. So he has videos about, like, how I made my 48-year-old cock into an 18-year-old penis. A dick. I turned my cock into a dick. And I'm usually just kind of, you know, lukewarm on that. You know, that's not vital research, I don't think. And then this came out a couple days ago. Also weird. Does not having high enough stats in your penis mean you'll die quicker? I don't know. I don't really know what it means. Oh, I mean, I know what it means in the context of the genitals, but I don't know what it means in his overall quest for eternal youth. So we have number of erection episodes, 5, which I didn't know you were getting 5 erections per night. I thought it was just like 1 erection sometimes, and if you're really unlucky, you get a nocturnal emission where you wake up with cum on you. I didn't realize that this happens so much. That's gotta be miserable for people that, like, toss and turn in their sleep, right? That'd be painful. That'd be very painful. But very competitive stats. How would you even log this? He might have a special mattress that can measure the amounts of erection per night. I also don't know how you quantify erection quality. Jarvis, activate erection analysis. I see, sir. Very well. 94% quality on all 5 of your erection episodes last night. Extraordinary work, sir. Rookie numbers. True. Not even 100% quality. This feels like I'm checking my credit score, except it's far more important. This is invaluable research. If he gets to 100, does he get to use his alt? Yeah, at 100% he alts. He fertilizes himself. 5 nights, 5 times a night is rookie numbers. I have Bluetooth PPRing and it tells me I have 20. Oh man, we got some real competitive erections in here. How does he keep track of his son's stats? Does he ask him? Yeah, I think his son's pretty involved in his dad's work. Like, you might remember they had that intergenerational plasma exchange where he took his son's plasma and then he gave his plasma to his dad. So they did like this plasma bake swap, basically. Do they sleep in pods? Like an MRI machine with the Pinor camera? No, so he's shown his setup. He sleeps in just a normal bed. So I don't really get how it measures his winky episodes. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, Vikesh, I couldn't tell you. He eventually eats his son for young proteins. Yeah, like Kronos. Oh man, that'd be nuts. No, I think this is the only stat that he posted. I'll double check. The only nighttime erection stats that he posted. Yep, this is all he posted on it. From out of nowhere, Brian Johnson just drops the boner stats and then nothing else. They didn't follow it up or anything. Oh, actually, interestingly enough, 4 hours ago he posted this. What a throwback. Bobby Althoff. I haven't seen her in a long time. I can already imagine this interview was amazing. Bobby, have you ever heard of nighttime erections? I measure them. In fact, I'm one of the top scorers of nighttime erections with a 94% quality. Over 184-minute duration as well. What are your stats? I mean, I'd measure it if I knew how. I'd get whatever Amazon gadget or Temu device that you need to measure nighttime erections. I'd do it. I'd be very curious to see how active my winky is when I'm sleeping. Especially when I'm having those dreams about playing Marvel Rivals. I bet my cock is going crazy like a joystick. It's made by Atom Health. What is the device to measure this? Oh, here. Atom Health Sensor. It's the world's first erection health tracker. I see. Track, understand, and take control of your erection health. Due to overwhelming demand, the Atom Sensor is currently on a waiting list. How many people? What? Also, it's like a tiny little pocket pussy, I guess. That can't be comfortable to sleep in. You put it in the cage? Oh, interesting. Wait, yeah. Book Shockwave Therapy. Hold on. I don't know if they're gonna actually show anything bad here. Like, if I click Shockwave Therapy, it's just wiener everywhere. It's a low-intensity shockwave treatment for penis and erection rejuvenation. Looks like it's for people that suffer from ED. This might be a real thing. This doesn't seem like any kind of joke or anything. Oh, here we go. Atom Sensor elaborates. The importance of nighttime erections. Healthy adult males typically experience between 3 to 5 erection episodes during sleep, totaling 1.5 to 3 hours. They play a vital role in maintaining penile tissue health by providing oxygen-rich blood flow. Similar to how regular exercise maintains muscle tone, nighttime erections help preserve the elasticity and function of erectile tissues. The erections aren't just important for erectile health, they can also provide valuable insights into your overall well-being, including cardiovascular, metabolic, and hormonal health. Wow! 1.5 to 3 hours a night spent bricked up. I don't believe that. Since the Atom Sensor's flying off the shelves like fidget spinners, I'm gonna have to just make my own. What I might do is I'll just set my phone up on the charger to just film my waist while I'm sleeping, and I'll sleep without the covers on and just track how long I stay hard for. I'll do it analog, the way our forefathers monitored their erectile health at night. I just don't believe that claim. That's so long. Stream it. What a banger stream. That'd go crazy, that'd be ballistic. Are you gonna buy the Atom Sensor? First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just film myself sleeping and see how long I stay hard for. Because that's something I can just do tonight. That'll be very interesting data. What if you sleep face down or away from the camera? Well, I don't sleep face down. I'm not a stomach sleeper. And I usually don't, like, side sleep all that often either. I should be fine. I'll try and stay, like, perfectly neutral on my back, so that way you'll know. There'll be no guesswork. But how are you gonna measure the erection quality? I'll just eyeball it. If it looks like a strong meat stick, I'll say that's a 90% at least. Yeah, no, it's a real tweet, it's not like a joke or anything. It's pretty crazy. Are you wearing undies or going commando? No, I'll be wearing pants. I'm not gonna show you guys the video, I'm not gonna let you guys look at my nighttime erections, it's for me, my own data. And I'll just share the results with you. Not the footage. You can make raw footage members only. True, I guess. You should send your own data to Brian Johnson to compare boners. Yeah, tag me in for the study. I'll send him just a video, an 8-hour video of my wiener going up and down sometimes. I'll be like, oh, good data, good data. I'll send it to the lab.